Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Spiritual Bloom, where we bloom within our consciousness with your mentor and spiritual guide and twin flame guide, Neha. In today's episode, we will be talking about the different stages in a twin flame journey and how does these stages impact our journey. So, let's begin. So, the twin flame journey is a journey where one flame soul is split into two bodies or two vessels, where they had made soul contract to come and fulfill their purpose in this realm. When they are born, they awaken and go through intense process of balancing the divine masculine and divine feminine to come into alignment. Through many lives, many incarnations, they always find each other in every life like a promise or memory. They have tattooed in their soul, a tattoo which cannot be erased. So let's walk through these stages together. So, firstly, let's talk about stage 1, which is basically the soul recognition. So, what does soul recognition mean? It is that stage where both the divine masculine and divine feminine cross each other's path, and this is the exact moment where everything changes. So, when you meet your twin flame, it doesn't feel ordinary, it feels extremely familiar, like you have known them before. There is an intense connection, intense magnetic pull, and instant feeling that you have known this person or you have seen or met this person sometime, somewhere in other realm or this life or previous life. And this magnetic pull can feel emotional, spiritual, and sometimes even telepathic. So during this soul recognition, what are the basic symptoms you feel? There is an intense eye contact when you look into your twin flame's eye. Though usually through my experience I have felt that eye contacts are very less, especially the divine masculine hesitates to make an eye contact with the feminine, but the divine feminine is quite bold enough, so she always tries to make an eye contact, because through that eye contact she comes to understand many things. And what both the counterparts they feel common is that they feel like they have come home. The other person feels like home. Even if you have met your twin flame for the first time, you will get a feeling that you have met this person previously, and there won't be any feeling of awkwardness, though you might feel shy, but your soul will recognize your twin flame. And during this phase, most common thing is that both the counterparts they go through synchronicities, like they see the numbers which can be 111, 222, 333, anywhere. Sometimes it can be a vehicle's number or some random number in some receipt. So these synchronicities, it gets intense with the different stages. And not just that, during this stage your main and important spiritual awakening starts. This is the time when your spiritual awakening begins. So the twin flame journey, and when you meet your counterpart, it's not just attraction. You cannot say that it is just a bodily attraction, because it's not. It is an attraction but also a recognition. Why recognition? Because your soul recognizes your divine counterpart. So that is why it is not just attraction, it is also a soul recognition. So let's move to stage 2. The second part after the soul recognition, what happens? So during the stage 2, which we call the honeymoon phase or the bubble phase, that is the second stage in a twin flame journey. So let's discover what happens in this stage. This stage, according to me, feels magical. It feels beautiful. There is no hard road or any intensity or any disturbing moments. It just feels smooth, good, and calm. Because everything flows, conversations between your counterpart becomes effortless and the chemistry is undeniable. You may feel like you have finally found the one. So what happens is many divine feminine or divine masculine of course have had a history. History in the sense they may have dated many people in their past, but the chemistry between their previous ex-boyfriend or girlfriend feels different than this one. That chemistry cannot be matched with the chemistry that you have with your counterpart, and you may feel like you have finally found the one. Usually as a human, in human psychology, we always have this feeling that is this the one? Sometimes we are very unsure, but your soul knows it all. When you know that this is the person for me, your heart and soul will align and they will tell you that this is the one. So that is the feeling you feel when you meet your divine counterpart in the honeymoon or bubble phase. This is the feeling you'll get, that this is the one, and your search stops there. Like we always keep on searching, right? Maybe this is the right person or that is the right person. But when you meet your divine counterpart, it's not about being right or wrong. Your search automatically stops there. It's like this is it, either this or nothing. So that is what happens during the bubble phase. But let me also tell you that though this stage, the bubble or the honeymoon phase, feels very smooth, feels very the feeling is you get butterflies in your stomach, you feel so joyful, you feel energetic, you feel happy again. Oh, the love has finally come into my life. But let me tell you that this phase doesn't last long, and it doesn't last forever. Why? That also I'll tell you. Because twin flames are mirrors, and mirrors don't just reflect your beauty, they reflect your wounds too. So the honeymoon phase comes to make you happy, to make you realize that you have found the one, but it doesn't last long. Because when we look in the mirror, sometimes we look very beautiful, but when we take out our makeup, the scars are there. So the twin flame, your counterpart mirrors you, and it's not just about the honeymoon and lovey-dovey phase. They show you the scars also, which means your scars, your wounds. That's why this honeymoon phase or the bubble phase doesn't last quite long. So let's move to the third stage. What is the third stage? The third stage is where the difficult moment starts, that is the triggering and turbulence. This is where things start to feel quite overwhelming. Old traumas, they rise to the surface. Abandonment wounds, rejection, fears, insecurity, control issues, everything that you have suppressed in your life begins to resurface. And this stage can feel quite confusing. Why? Because when you have surpassed the honeymoon or the bubble phase, the love still feels intense. But along with love, the conflicts also feels intense. Your emotions becomes uncontrollable. Sometimes you feel happy, sometimes you feel sad, sometimes you feel distorted, but you can't understand. And in spite of all these mixed feelings, the love remains intense and constant. And there is a toxicity also in this stage, that is, you might feel addicted to this connection. This addiction is toxic, because even I have been through it. And there will be extreme emotional mood swings, from ecstasy to despair. One moment you'll feel so much love for your counterpart, the other moment you'll feel despair, you'll be distorted, you'll feeling all over the place. And trust me, that feeling feels the worst. But let me also tell you that this phase is not toxic. Yeah, the addiction might feel toxic, but actually it is not toxic, because it is transformation. You are supposed to go through that addiction to your connection and your counterpart. You are supposed to go through feeling all over the place. You are supposed to go through all that intense love and despair at the same time, because this is the phase, the stage 3 phase, that is the triggering and turbulence phase through which transformation starts. Let's go to stage 4. So the stage 4 is the runner and chaser dynamic. The runner chaser dynamic is something that I have already discussed in a previous episode. You can go and watch it. So this is one of the most talked about stages, because let me tell you, this is one of the most difficult stages in a twin flame journey, where one person becomes the runner, overwhelmed by the intensity, and often withdraws from the connection, which is mostly the divine masculine. And the other person becomes the chaser, trying to hold on, fix things, or reconnect. And the chaser is mostly the divine feminine. Here I am not talking about gender. Please focus on the energy. Divine masculine or feminine, take it as per your criteria and your situation. This is not gender specific. Energy can be in any body, irrespective of male or female. But in this runner chaser dynamic, the spiritual truth is, it in physical realm in 3D, it might look like the masculine is running and the feminine is chasing. The masculine is the runner and the feminine is the chaser. But the actual thing, if we go and see in the 5D, or if we see in the spiritual realm, both of them are running. Now I'll tell you how. One runs physically and the other runs emotionally through attachment. So what happens is, one runs physically. So who is running physically? Physically, the divine feminine is running, and the other runs emotionally through attachment. That means the divine masculine, he withdraws, he's running. But let me tell you, both of them, they mirror each other. Why? I'll tell you. Because the divine masculine, he feels that this connection is too intense for him to handle, and he has never come across such emotions or how to tackle such emotions. That's why he gets overwhelmed and he starts withdrawing from the connection. Whereas on the other hand, the divine feminine, she starts chasing because she mirrors him. Means she is chasing things which she feels, which her soul knows lacks within her. She lacks love, she lacks self-love. That's why she keeps on chasing, right? She lacks something, that's why she's chasing him. And in spiritual realm, he runs because he is not running from her. Since both are same, both are mirror souls, the divine masculine is not running from the divine feminine. Instead, the divine feminine should understand that the divine masculine energy is running from herself. Because she is running away from her emotions, from not being able to give herself the proper self-love, so the divine masculine mirrors her energy and he runs. And that is how the runner-chaser dynamic takes place. So what this stage teaches us? So finally, when the divine feminine gets fed up chasing, and even the masculine, at one point he has to stop. He cannot run from his emotions. He has to face his fears, his suppressed emotions, which was underlying since a very long time. So what both they do is they surrender. They surrender to the divine. They surrender this connection to the divine. So that is what the runner-chaser dynamic teaches in a twin flame journey. The fifth stage. What is the fifth stage after the runner-chaser dynamic? The fifth stage is the stage of separation. I told you, from the runner-chaser dynamic, everything gets quite confusing. And because of that confusion comes another bomb, that is separation, which sometimes becomes painful and unbearable. But let me tell you that separation is not punishment, it is a preparation. This can feel extremely devastating, especially for the divine feminines. You may experience deep grief, spiritual dark night of the soul, which may last for quite some time, depends on your inner work, obsessive thoughts, and you might feel loneliness. Loneliness in the sense like nobody loves me, I am so unloved, my divine masculine doesn't love me, I don't have anyone in this world. So such kind of negative thoughts will always come into your mind during this dark night of the soul or the separation phase. But this is where the real growth happens. Separation takes place not to punish you, but both of them are separated because it is necessary for the divine feminine to work on herself and come into power. And also, the divine masculine has to understand that he cannot run from his emotion or from this connection. He has to take accountability and work on it. And also, because divine masculine has to understand the value of divine feminine in his life. That's why this separation phase comes in a twin flame journey. So the growth happens in this separation phase where both the counterpart, they begin healing their wounds like childhood wounds. You rediscover your identity. You learn what self-love is, what self-worth is, what is self-esteem, and how it makes you a valuable person. Why not to chase anything? Why not to chase any person, situation, or work dynamic? So it's necessary. And you shift your energy, it shifts from needing them to becoming whole within yourself. That means that loneliness makes you feel that you don't need anyone in your life, physically or mentally or even emotionally. You are whole all by yourself. You need your counterpart in your life not to complete you. You're already whole. But you both have a purpose, that's why you have to come together. But before coming together, the universe cannot place you both together because there is a lot of inner work that is required to be done. And before you people come into union, that inner work has to be maintained. Otherwise, again, separation will keep on taking place until and unless you don't learn what is supposed to be learned by both the counterparts. So let's move to stage 6. What is stage 6? The stage 6 is after all these hurdle, separation, running, chasing, karmic cycles, and many other things. The stage 6 comes, which is the inner union. So this is the most important stage, and let me tell you, inner union doesn't require physical reunion. Okay, inner union is something internal. It is not visible in the physical realm. So it doesn't require physical reunion. So when does inner reunion happen? Right? After the runner chaser dynamic, after the separation, when you reflect, when you start working on yourself, you start focusing on self-love, you discover your soul purpose, you understand your worth and value in society, in family, and especially in your own life. The inner union happens when you detach from the outcome. For example, you are doing inner work with an attachment that union will take place with my counterpart one day. That is attachment. But detachment is what? I am doing inner work for my betterment, for my soul, for my ascension, because I want to ascend, not because I want to come into union. Because you have already come into surrender mode, you know that union is inevitable. But without attachment, you detach, and in that detachment, you start growing, you start ascending, you start focusing on yourself. Because that focus, the price is not union, the price is rediscovering your higher self and ascending yourself and bringing yourself to the higher authentic self which the universe wants you to be in. So when you put the term union out of the box and start focusing on yourself and realizing that inner union is coming home to yourself first. You know, when I entered 2026, this sentence has been coming in my mind since quite a long time. Coming home to myself. I'll make a separate episode on this. It has been coming again and again. I think this download is for the divine feminines. Coming home to yourself. So when you come into inner union means balancing your yin and yang, balancing your divine feminine and divine masculine, and coming home to yourself, coming home to who you actually are, not the distorted one, not the chaser, nothing but the actual balanced feminine, the actual balanced divine feminine. That is what inner union is all about. It's about coming home to yourself. And you stop chasing. In inner union, you stop chasing. You forgive your masculine no matter how much they have hurt you, or any karmic people around you. Even if they have hurt you, you forgive them because you know what role they played in your life and why it was necessary. Then you integrate your masculine and feminine energies and you try to balance them, and you feel complete on your own when you do the inner work properly and understand that the outcome is not just physical union but firstly your inner union. Then only you feel complete on your own. You no longer seek them to fill your void, and you become aligned with your higher self. And let me tell you, ironically, when this happens, that is when the things start shifting. It's like when you stop chasing, the things start shifting. So through inner union, when you come into inner union, when you come home to yourself, that is when the things start shifting in the physical realm. So let's move to stage 7, which is the final stage in a twin flame journey. The 7th stage is the harmonious union, means harmonious permanent union, which is optional but possible. Means the permanent union is not for everybody, because there are many people in a twin flame journey who are already married, who have families, and they cannot leave their families. Not because they are scared or fearful, but because divine has made their journey in such a way that they are supposed to reach only till inner union. That means the counterpart is married somewhere else, or out of both the counterpart, one is married somewhere else. So both of them, they come into peaceful inner union, and individually they fulfill their soul purpose in their life and they move ahead. They don't have a physical union. But the 7th stage talks about the harmonious union, which is optional. That means only some people are blessed to have a physical union in this 3D realm. But for that also work is required, because if they don't do the inner work properly, and if they don't balance their energies, or they don't carry out their soul purpose properly, even if they come into 3D union, it will split apart because of their carelessness. So like I told you, not every twin flame journey ends in a physical union, and that is okay, because everybody's faith is different. Everybody has come here to do different work, so we have to come into acceptance. And like I told you, the outcome should not be union. The outcome and the center of your life should be you, because you are the one who leads the journey. I mean to say, the divine feminine leads the journey. So your focus should not be on the union. There are some twin flames who are supposed to come into physical union and carry out the soul purpose together with their counterpart, whereas there are other group who are in separate marriages. They are supposed to carry out their soul purpose coming into inner union, and they are supposed to carry out their soul purpose individually. So that is okay. But if both the individual do their healing, release ego, and align spiritually, reunion becomes stable, peaceful, and divinely guided. And the union is no longer chaotic. It becomes mature, calm, and purposeful. if two people choose each other, if two people they work on each other, then they achieve the permanent 3D union. Otherwise, it will become chaotic. That is why, for the twin flames whose union is near or will happen someday or the other, it is very important to carry out your inner work properly. Because if you do not do your inner work properly, even if you come into 3D union, you will always be in guilt or pain or suffering, and you might even split out of the wedlock with your counterpart. So to avoid that, please make sure that you do your inner work properly and make yourself the center of focus for now, instead of making your counterpart the center of focus. Because if you make yourself the center of focus, everything will come into alignment. So you have to know your worth and you have to know your value. So I'm ending this episode on a note that, as far as I have understood and through my experience, that twin flame journey is not just about romance. It's about awakening, it's about tests and trials. It requires a lot of patience, and it is not for people who are impatient. It's about breaking cycles, healing ancestral wounds, elevating your consciousness, and most importantly, I told you, coming home to yourself. I need to make an episode on coming home to yourself. This has been coming as a download since the January, first week. So coming home to yourself is very important, because your counterpart is you only. The body is a vessel, but the soul is yours. It's your soul. You both are the same. So don't concentrate on the vessel. Don't concentrate on the human body, physical body. Concentrate on the soul, and think that if you are working on yourself, that will show and improve and reflect on your counterpart also, because the soul is the same. It's just that it has been split into two. So if you are currently in separation, always know this, that you are not alone, you are not crazy, and this journey is shaping you into your higher version. So if you really liked this episode about the different stages in a twin flame journey, please like, share and subscribe. And for personal guidance, you can WhatsApp or email me. My contact details have been given in the description box and in the video itself during the starting and ending. I really request you guys, since this channel is a new channel for me and I'm trying really hard to bring out content which will help you people, and not just content. I don't want to do things which others are doing. I know that there are many people fulfilling their soul purpose through making videos. I appreciate them, but I want to help you guys by bringing my story, by bringing my experiences, the raw experiences that I have faced in my journey. So soon I'll be coming with my experiences and my journey. Not just educating is important, but that education becomes interesting when you put facts and circumstances. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put facts, circumstances and my experiences of being a twin. So I'll be really grateful if you really support my channel, if you like, subscribe, share. That will motivate me to bring more videos for you, to help you, to guide you. Even I need a boost. I know that I'm quite new in this field, but then I'll try my best to help my soul family. So I'll see you again in another episode. Thank you for watching and listening to me.